Welcome to another great episode of the Beyond Normal podcast. If you're a previous listener, or maybe you're someone new, I just want to spend a little bit of time letting you know what we do at Beyond Normal Media. We empower Black startup founders one story at a time. We're on season 5. It's been an amazing journey. We have a very incredible partner in Ascentum that's helping us do some amazing things. Going to do a quick ad for them, and then we're going to kick off the show. This episode is brought to you in partnership with Ascentum, which is an award-winning coaching practice that helps high-performing professionals advance and achieve the promotions and pay they deserve. Ascend to powerful heights with Ascentum. Shout out to our partners again at Ascentum, doing amazing things around coaching, making sure that folks understand the balance that's needed between the career, their connections, and ultimately what they want to do in life in terms of their passions. This episode, I wanted to spend a little bit of time changing things up. Typically, we have a founder come on. We allow them to highlight their story, use our platform as a soapbox, right, for them to tell the world how they got to this point being a founder. It's not easy. But one of the things I've been seeing with the guests we've been having on lately, and then even some of the events that I've been privileged to actually be a part of around hosting events and having opportunities to be an MC, is the art of storytelling. How storytelling can be leveraged by startup founders, specifically Black startup founders in the current environment. To tell the world what they're building, why they're building it, getting to that why. As we all know, storytelling has been an integral part of human communication since the beginning of time, right? Since the beginning of our existence. It's a way to connect, engage, and create emotional impact. Black startup founders that are mastering this art of storytelling can make all the difference in them building a successful business. It could be the reason why someone ultimately buys your product. Think about for that first time when you have someone who's interested in your product. You may not necessarily have the best product, but that story behind it is a lot of times the reason why you get that first sale. I can think back to the time when I started the podcast. I did some merch runs, did a few merch runs. As you can see, I'm wearing some of that merch now. And I didn't have a lot to go off of. I had maybe a few episodes already kind of done out there on the major DSP platforms. But the folks that I was able to sell my merch to, there were folks that I had a connection with. I was able to tell them the story, right, around, why I'm doing this, why I'm so passionate about it. They could hear it in my voice that this was going to be something that I was going to be in for the long run. And so why not buy a hoodie? Why not buy a hat? I'll make sure to put some links to our merch for those that are interested in supporting that way. But outside of that, leveraging that power of storytelling can have a founder go a really, really, really long way. So why is storytelling so powerful? That's the question that I've had in the back of my head for some time now as I've been talking to different founders. Stories, again, as I said before, they have the ability to evoke that emotion and capture people's attention. Attention spans, as we know it in the current environment, people say that attention spans are short, but I'm not necessarily sure that's the case always. People are just looking for the stories that resonate the most with them. And when you share your personal journey, your struggles and the triumphs, the good and the bad that comes with it, that whole roller coaster ride, that's what's going to draw people in. It creates a connection with folks that can really last a long time. It's really underrated, the art of storytelling, but we've been blessed to have some amazing founders on the platform who are honing their skill, trying to master that art of storytelling. I can think back to the very first episode for this season 5, Dr. Robin Collin. She's the founder of Live Bloom Creations, which is a nature photography studio. She's doing some amazing things, but she had this story that she led the season off with. She was a doctor during the pandemic. one of the most critical times probably in the history of our country where we needed doctors. We called on them. It was a call to arms, right? And for them to really come in and make sure that the American population and really people around the world were healthy. And so there was a massive amount of stress. And for her, she 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 kind of took those moments to make sure that was in the right mental space. She noticed that something wasn't right, and she needed a change. Now she spent her whole life, as we all know, most of us know, going down that path of being a doctor is a really long process, right? You put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You put in a lot of energy to become a doctor, right? But those things that come along with it, for her, it was time for her to pivot. And so she noticed that, through all the madness, through all the chaos, one of the things that was really common for her was going outside, going for walks, taking some pictures of her surroundings, taking pictures of nature. And so just leveraging the turmoil from the situation and figuring out where she was going to pivot next. That's what led her to the path of Live Bloom Creations. She's doing amazing photography work. We actually spent some time on that episode. There was a picture that she actually brought up on the video. If you haven't seen it, check it out on all the major platforms that we stream our content on. But she actually spent some time going through a picture of a peacock. That was actually what we titled the episode around, because as she put the picture on the screen, she started to explain it. She went through the scenario of seeing this peacock in Raleigh, North Carolina, where you wouldn't expect to see a peacock, right? But she was in the moment. She was able to capture that. That was something that stood out to me. She's really into it. She's taking pictures, you know, leveraging all the moments when it comes to nature and in the current world of madness, right? Taking her time, taking these pictures, putting some time into it, some her energy into it, but she's passionate about it, right? And so it's about finding that thing that you're passionate about that you can sit there and tell folks a story about, because they're gonna really gravitate towards the stories with the whole arc. You think about the movies that are out there. You have the beginning where there's some introduction to the main protagonist. The antagonist is somewhat introduced in there as well. There's a climax. There's all these moments. There's this journey that makes a movie great, and we all live our own movie is the way I like to look at it. But Dr. Robin Collins, she was definitely the perfect way for us to kick off this season. Now that we've changed our mission statement around empowering. That word really stood out to me as I was connecting with our team and figuring out what is it that we really want to do. We've been at this for 5 seasons, going on 5 seasons now. What can we really do? And the podcast itself really lends to founders being out there telling their story, telling folks about their movie, and that's what's going to draw people into their business, right? And so, next up, I want to spend a little bit of time, that we kind of laid the groundwork for what is the art of storytelling and why is it impactful? What does it do? We led off with Dr. Robin Collins, but next up, crafting the narrative around from that storytelling. What's the brand narrative of your business? Your story, our stories oftentimes go into the what and the how we got there. But you got to make sure as a business owner you convey why you're doing something, your purpose and your mission. I just mentioned how we changed our mission statement here at Beyond Normal Media. But what problem are you trying to solve? Why is it important to you? And that energy that you exude around it, if you're able to sit there and talk about a topic for a set amount of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you start to show people, make people a believer. Like, all it takes is really having conversations with people. Again, going back to what we did for Beyond Normal Media, our mission statement, the first 4 seasons was around, we just want to highlight amazing individuals that are out there in the world, where that got us to what 60 around 60 episodes across different streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple, YouTube. But as I started to have the opportunity to go out, as the pandemic kind of uh, went away, right, and people were back outside, people were engaging. I got the chance to speak at different conferences, MC a couple of events, which I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of. And the word empower came out, words like that, words that kind of there's some baggage, there's some good baggage that comes with saying some of these words. And so some of those words started to stick out to me to where I was like, hey, maybe it's time for us to pivot, maybe it's time for us to transform a little bit, and go down a set path. I can think of past episodes where we've had founders from different ethnicities, from different backgrounds on. And while it was good for me to build these connections and have that dialogue with people during a time where we all were fiending for connections, I, I kept coming back to I really need to make sure that I'm staying true to enabling, empowering Black founders. And so that's why, I wanted to make sure that we readjusted, reestablished our focus on founders um, here in America and abroad that are, Black, who are living that life, able to tell their journey, able leveraging their experiences to come up with new businesses. There's gonna be a massive need for entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, and specifically to create businesses moving forward. And I got to do my part to make sure that I'm highlighting them specifically, and they know that they can come on the platform and say the good things that come along with what they're doing and the bad things. Tell the whole journey, tell the whole story, the whole arc. Going back to that movie analogy that I had earlier. One way that weaving in the brand narrative and making sure that storytelling is incorporated into the business now is on the marketing and the messaging, how you put your business out there on your website, the different social media platforms we all are on as business owners, and just the content you share that reflects your brand identity, the places that you show up. Sharing customer success stories, testimonials, people rating your app or your website or your services. That's always a good way. I can think back to, this season we had David J. Butler. He is a co-founder. What I say is like part of the three-headed monster over at Hugh House, which is in their ad agency at their core, but they're doing some amazing things around community. They're building in nonprofit work into their business model, which I think is really differentiating them. They focus on community in a lot of their stories. They do consulting and they do creative work for a host of companies that we all have heard of, and then even they have a focus on local initiatives like United Way. Was one of them, I know for sure, and just some of the foundations that are core to their market in North Carolina. But they're thinking broader, in their messaging. A lot of their campaigns that they work on, a lot of the commercials that they work on, actually exhibit that, right? And so it's something where it takes a lot, it takes some effort, it takes some work, but being able to show up, have that brand story, have that storytelling show up in all aspects of your business, that's a differentiator. Something is one of those things we all see those memes like, well, what are some of the things that you can do without, having all the money, having all the things in the world, and building a great story? That isn't necessarily something that you can quantify to say you have to have a certain amount of money, certain amount of followers, a certain quality of product to enable storytelling throughout the whole process. And pivoting just a little bit off of that, one of the around storytelling, it's never too early to start is one of the things that I've you know always believed in. A lot of the founders that we had early on, they were really starting out their businesses. They were fresh. They were just quitting their jobs, their 9 to 5s. They were pivoting their business. It's okay to have that. And that's all part of the storytelling. It's okay to pivot. Um, all the companies that we know and love now, a lot of them have pivoted out in the market. And so it's okay to start early. You don't have to have too much. All it takes is a way to record, um, a way to tell folks what you're working on, why you're doing it. Doesn't have to have the best quality. I can think of when I started the podcast, right? The podcast was me just having my basic laptop and a Zoom membership. So it's not the highest quality audio. It's not the highest quality video. Over the years, we've been able to kind of, bring people along with the journey for us where we've got new tools. We've gotten better sponsors that are helping us upgrade our solutions and our products and the offering that we have overall. But it doesn't take that much, and people uh, counter to what we may see on Instagram. People don't necessarily want to see the final product. We all see what the most successful people in the world monetarily, the Warren Buffetts of the world, even on our side, the Jay-Z's of the world, right? We see what these individuals have done uh, present day, and we can Google some of those high level achievements, but then that journey that they were on, right? It's really uh, that's the magic sauce. Like Jay, going back to Jay Z, right? Initially, all people say is, "Oh, Jay Z's, one of the first Black billionaires here in the States, in America." But what people don't often kind of allude to in his story is that, when Jay-Z initially started his music career, I find this amazing, right? He was rejected by all of the major labels, and he had to go out on his own, put his own money, find his friends, pull some money with his friends, have a friends and family round, right? And start his own recording label and start from the bottom. And that's what's got him to this point now. He's an amazing career, amazing journey, but that's where it starts. That's the magic sauce. And just, keeping that in mind. I tell all the founders that I connect with, tell folks how you're where you are in your journey, why you're on it, and how you're building, how you're thinking about evolving. That's box office to me. Again, going back to my movie analogy, that's the box office movie that we all want to see. That's the a Marvel movie. That's the Star Wars movie. That's the Lord of the Rings movie for all the nerds out there. Those are some of my favorite series. But those are some of the ways that a founder can connect even early on in the process as they're starting their business. One aspect, I've been able to host some events, MC a couple events around, as some of you may know, some of the new folks may not know. We've interviewed venture capitalists. We've interviewed folks from different funding agencies, such as I Fund Women. Recently, I've been able to moderate some webinars and some content for some amazing organizations around different ways that businesses can fund their business. And this leads me to the pitch and how important the aspect of storytelling is in the pitch. There is no template across all the different lending spectrums, whether it be VC, whether it be going to a local bank, going to a national bank, going to different lenders that are out there. There really is no set template that you have to come with. Obviously, performance and data and all those things are good to have, but there is really no set kind of playbook, right? And so the storytelling can come into play when you're pitching these investors or potential partners or lenders around your business. Investors specifically, a lot of times nowadays they're not even investing in the business. You hear this, you may hear this from time to time. I've heard it several times from people who are, again, in VC, angel investing, things of that nature. They're not necessarily investing in the business. A lot of times they're investing in the story and the individual behind the business. And so, crafting a compelling pitch oftentimes boils down to how can you connect your story to the problem and get what does your solution look like, right? And so taking people along that ride, I can think of Divergent Ventures, where we had B Dot up here, Pagels Minor. She started went on. She's done amazing things from a product perspective in tech, massive tech companies, Netflix, and things of that nature. But she's really pivoted into venture capital full on, but she's taken a different angle with her being, I think, from Mississippi, her roots. She's actually focusing on areas outside of where a lot of the VC money currently goes, which is on the coast. You think California, you think New York, maybe some in Georgia, Atlanta area. But her site is an amazing information kind of overload. When you go up there, there's so much information that can be helpful for founders and investors looking to get into, putting capital and different resources into other businesses, and getting some of those resources as a startup. She had one stat that I really think summarized what she's trying to work on in a really great way. 60% of GDP comes from the South, Midwest, and Mountain West. You think of a lot of the industries that just quite frankly probably aren't the sexiest right now, aren't the coolest, but they are really the bone and structure, right? The meat and potatoes of our economy. But only 14% of venture funding goes to those same regions here in the States. So that's a massive opportunity for someone who can come into that space, such as B Dot, and figure out how to get more resources to uh, the businesses that are in those regions. We've actually had some founders come on that have been talking about the resurgence of places like Tulsa. Um, Obviously Atlanta's a hub. Miami, we've had shout out to our folks in Miami, Tulsa, Atlanta that have been on the platform as well. Texas is another hot spot. But having representation, making sure that VC pipeline is actually representative of what our nation actually is built on, right? And it's investing in a lot of these places outside of the glitz and glamour places, the places that are getting majority of it. But just just their ability to connect their story, B Dot, for Divergent Ventures, I can really see, as they were letting me know, hey, I'm pivoting from tech, but I'm really passionate about this, and here's why. I could actually see the runway. I could actually see the story play out in front of me, just because they were able to tell me the story from their time in Mississippi, right, to the point now where they took that leap of faith on themselves. And so that storytelling is really evident in businesses like that. And storytelling can be really powerful, again, when you're looking to solicit funding from different investors. You're looking for individuals to put some form of an equity, right, into your business. Even customers, right? That story still plays out. And just finally wrapping things up. I've alluded to this throughout, but storytelling definitely is an ongoing process, and the story is going to change for founders that are out there as the business evolves. There is no right way to do a lot of this. I've been talking to a lot of folks in VC and angel, different lenders. There is no template across the board that you can give them all, right, and they'll just open their wallet to you. It really is going to end up being a conversation at the end of the day. And so from that evolving conversation, is going to be dynamic. Questions are going to be thrown out, answers are going to be thrown out, ideas are going to pop here and there all over the place for the business owner. But just enjoy the ride. Know that platforms like Beyond Normal are here to help support where needed. If you need a place to act as a soapbox and to highlight your business, I definitely say reach out to us. The growth that comes along with evolving the business, it really is incredible. I've seen it myself. for Beyond Normal being just a podcast. Now we're a media company. We're helping businesses in different ways. We're partnering with different folks. Our sponsors have gotten bigger. Our partnerships in general have really been flourishing. And so that final note, just the evolution that comes with it. It's an ongoing process, and hope you enjoy it. Definitely reach out if you want to tell your story on the platform, or I just want to hear the story of incredible founders. So feel free to reach out to me directly. If any interest pop up from hearing this or any of our content. The last shout out I would want to give is around our website. Folks have really been engaging a lot with our website. We have some amazing founders, as you can see highlighted here. The founders that we highlight on our episodes end up on our website. And so it's always great to see people engaging there. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm a data guy. And so I'm always looking at the traffic that's coming through and enjoy seeing the numbers going up. And even if the numbers go down, so in certain instances, I'm always digging in to find out what episodes, what content we may have released that may have triggered folks to go to the platform or to go about listening to our content in different ways. But just wanted to shout out for those folks looking to engage more. Check out our website, www.beyondnormalmedia.com. It's been my pleasure having this conversation with you all today. I'm going to try to do more of these as I've been engaging with some incredible individuals. Certain topics like storytelling, ways to run the business more efficiently. Those are the topics that I'm thinking about kind of maybe having some solo episodes on to dive into with folks, let folks know what kind of notes I've been taking, how I'm thinking about building my platform, and how I think this may be a great conversation, great dialogue for us to have, for me to have with other business founders that are out there. Outside of that, I appreciate everyone for tuning in to this episode, and any content of ours that you've interacted with. Let us know, reach out, send us a ping on whatever your platform is. Let us know how we're doing. Love hearing from folks. And then finally, just thanks for tuning in to another great episode of the Beyond Normal podcast. Thank you.